Good evening and welcome to another episode of Scoville Scouts. If you've seen the internet sensation Hot Ones, you know what we're about ready to do here. We have 10 wings, interesting guests, and 10 questions. Joining me today is Jeff Cass, President of AirGas Great Lakes. Thank you for being with us today, Jeff.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me.
How are you with hot sauce?
I'm mildly nervous right now.
All right. Well, to start us off, we've got the First We Feast Classic Hot One sauce. Have you ever had Frank's Red Hot sauce?
Definitely. Yeah.
That's 450 Scoville.
Okay.
We're starting off at 1,800 Scoville, or 4 times hotter than the traditional Frank's Red Hot sauce. So
Okay.
that is wing number 1.
Now I'm terrified.
All right, AirGas is the largest distributor of packaged gases. What are some industries that might use their products? Now, I assume, obviously, medical oxygen has to be your biggest one.
Really, it's probably what industries don't we service. Medical is not the largest. It is probably, for us, it's probably the 3rd largest, something like that. So manufacturing is by far the biggest. It's about 40% of what we do. We do a lot in healthcare, as I said, steel, glass, construction, chemical, pretty much almost any industry you can think of, we service.
Okay. Now, I assume medical oxygen, stuff like that, but you go to the United Dairy Farmers or the convenience stores, a lot of times the CO2 coming out of the fountain drinks, you're in that industry.
That's right, yeah, pretty much. So you have CO2 used for carbonation, so that's used all over the place. We supply a lot of those. A lot of the helium used in balloons, so you'll see that all over the place. I'm trying to think of some others that would resonate. So I'll save one for later, because you're going to ask me a question about the other one. That was the other one that comes to mind, but those are some big ones.
All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to wing number 2. And wing number 2 is High River Sauces Chiba Gold. It's coming in at 12,200 Scovilles. So that is your second wing on your plate there.
Okay. The first one wasn't too bad. I was surprised.
All right, what type of effect did COVID have on AirGas? I mean, I'm thinking a positive from the increase of medical oxygen, but I guess how did it positively and negatively affect the business?
So I'm going to give you this answer more from our region, so what we call AirGas Great Lakes, which is Ohio, Michigan, Western PA, Northern Indiana. The majority is where we are. So we're right in the Rust Belt. And probably the biggest impact was immediately when we had the lockdown. A lot of the auto companies shut down. The auto industry, either directly or indirectly with those that service them, pretty much shut down as well. So our business dropped almost immediately, about 40%. So that was huge. So that was a big negative in the very beginning, going back to March and April. I think that from a positive point of view, it really brought out the resourcefulness of our people. So I would say our people are conditioned for taking care of customers. And immediately in March, we had to figure out what we were going to do. Things were locking down around us. Nobody had really been through anything like this. We had to find a way to still service our customers, but keep our people safe. We shut down our retail stores one day, but yet we were still able to figure out how to take care of our customers as people were coming in, and we had more of a touchless kind of transaction. But our drivers and our direct folks, we continued to deliver to customers. We just did it again more from a distance. So as long as we were delivering outside, we still were able to take care of most of our customers. And I would say from a positive point of view, that's probably the biggest thing I will take away from COVID.
Now, as far as essential businesses and stuff go, nothing's more essential than making sure that the hospitals were getting fed with their oxygen and stuff like that. So I'm sure you had to immediately figure out how to deal with the COVID situation. There was no time to think about it or shut down for AirGas, because the hospitals kept running and you guys couldn't even take time to formulate a plan, really, I assume.
No, that's a good point. We really couldn't formulate a plan. Every day it felt like something else was changing. We had to continue to figure out how to adapt. So from a medical point of view, that was probably one of the riskier places that we had to go because there was a lot of a lot of patients that were there, obviously, that were sick. We didn't want our people to get sick. We didn't want them to get infected and then go to other customers either. So we had to be really careful with that. We tried to figure out a way with most of our customers where we didn't have to enter the buildings, where we would deliver outside and then they would have their people come and pick them up. And we typically will sign a ticket with our customers. We went to a touchless transaction there as well, so that happened right away. We even take care of some customers at home health care. So we had to stop going into their homes because we even had an issue in the very beginning. So in many cases, we found a way for those individual patients that we could still deliver and they could get their products and they were taken care of well. But our people were safe too. And we made it through that time, I would say, very well for the first 3 months, which were probably the toughest 3 months of COVID.
All right, up next we have Heartbeat's Pineapple Habanero Hot Sauce. It's 25,300 Scoville.
Oh boy.
All right, during the pandemic, AirGas helped establish a 670-bed facility in Detroit. What lessons were learned on how to quickly mobilize for a pandemic response?
Yeah, that project was very unique, and these were popping up, these temporary hospitals were popping up all over the country. We were tracking where they were going to pop up first, so we had to understand kind of where they were going to happen, how they're going to happen quickly. There were several companies that were helping organize this. So the first thing is we had to get organized with them. We had to understand how they were thinking. And the particular situation in Detroit, we had to put in, typically when we do this, we will put in a large bulk, what we call a bulk tank for liquid oxygen outside. We put in a large temporary tank, and we put in a 13,000 gallon tank. In normal times, that will take about probably 3 to 4 months. It took us less than 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So the coordination was incredible by our people to find the assets, to get them to the site, to pipe the site and coordinate where the piping had to go with the folks that were on site as well. So that's probably the biggest feat I've seen from our people. It's just been amazing. And there were probably 5 different examples of things like that, but that one really stands out, and our people did a terrific job.
That is awesome. And no warning. I mean, this pandemic kind of hit us. We didn't have any contingency plans or anything in any aspect, so
No.
You did it in about 2 weeks.
Exactly. It was less than 2 weeks even. Yeah. So, it was interesting. In March, my wife and I were on vacation, and we were actually out of the country. And we're getting a call from folks that were in Dayton that were potentially exposed, and I didn't know what was going on. So we came back, and even traveling at that time, we thought we were okay, but we didn't know what to expect. We'd never seen anything like this. We heard a lot of news, but as soon as we got back, literally that next week, they were thinking about lockdowns. I mean, at least in our lifetime, we've never had a lockdown, never had to get people out of work. And just the unknowns. I mean, we didn't really know what to think. We didn't know how people could transfer the virus. We didn't know how our people should interact with customers or how they should interact with each other. And that was unique, but I would say even the folks outside of the ones on the front line, the folks that were working at home, we outfitted them with laptops. We connected them. We have now been on video calls for whatever it's been, almost 2 years, it seems like. So we found a way to work through all of that, which I guess I'm pretty proud of with our team.
Awesome. Well, up next from the Bravado Spice Company, we've got a ghost pepper and blueberry sauce. It's 28,000 Scoville. So the last one was 25. This one goes up to 28. Not a lot of difference yet. So
when should I be getting more worried?
Soon.
Soon.
What has been your most memorable engineering feat while working at AirGas? The biggest problem you had to solve?
Yeah, I spent some time thinking about this, and I appreciate you giving me these questions beforehand. I'm an engineer by training, first of all. Let me say that. I don't know if you knew that. Mechanical engineer from Grove City College.
Yep.
But the thing that came to my mind that I thought about was we have a lot of specialists that help our people and our customers use our products. And I spent some time before I came back to AirGas Great Lakes working with our welding specialists, which is a big part of what we do. And now it's starting to affect me. Does it hit you like that all the time?
Ghost pepper is named ghost pepper because it kind of sneaks up on you a little bit late. So
Yes, yes.
that's pretty common.
Okay, all right. So working with our welding specialist, and we had some great people around the country. We ended up with somewhere around 100 folks around the country that were very knowledgeable in welding. And one of the challenges that I saw with our team was that even though they were very knowledgeable, we didn't always have customers that accepted what they knew and how to help them. And I think that to me was a big gap that we needed to somehow close. So what we did, one of the things I thought that really helped close that gap was we started keeping a database of certain welding metrics so that the customers could get perspective on how they were doing compared to those metrics. That was very motivating for them because everybody thinks that they're doing things right and they're perfect, right? Well, what was very interesting is when we showed them those metrics and they didn't necessarily always do things perfectly, they were very motivated to start fixing those things. And that's what we really wanted. We wanted our specialists to help them fix some of these problems because that's what we did. And it worked pretty well, I would say.
Awesome. All right, well, up next is another First We Feast sauce from Hot Ones. It's Los Calientes, and this is 36,000 Scoville, so.
What was the last one?
25,300, no, 28,000. So 28 to 36. And this one's, again, it's pretty flavorful. We'll hit the back half soon.
Okay.
All right, the Scouts have several merit badges where AirGas plays an important role. They have a welding merit badge, they have a metalworking merit badge, and aside from hobbies, are these really good career paths?
Yes, I would. So this would be people that understand welding, understand the metalworking, right? Yeah, so I think absolutely from our perspective, from the AirGas perspective, those skills could be put to use in many things that we do because a lot of our customers, a big percentage of our customers are doing that. Welding and metalworking is a theme throughout many of our customers. So any of our associates that interact with those type of customers, this would apply. So whether it's inside sales where people might come to our store, we could help them with different products that would help their operation, or outside sales that work with maybe some of the bigger customers, or some of the specialists that I was talking about before where they might help the customer use some of the products or solve problems. So that would be useful from our standpoint across many of those careers.
All right. To your knowledge, is there a shortage of welders? Metalworking, is that an industry that's really being called for now?
Yeah, good question. In my last role, when I was working with the welding specialist, we watched this quite a bit. The AWS, and I'll try and remember the exact stats, but the average welder was somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 or 56. So they're getting close to retirement. There wasn't as many new welders coming into that field. So there was projected to be a pretty large shortage in the next, what would have been probably the next 5 years. So absolutely, I think welders, drivers right now tends to be another one that's very in need. So I'd put them both right up there.
All right. All right, up next, we've got Torchbearers Garlic Reaper Sauce. It's 116,000 Scovilles.
Was this 36,000?
Yeah, 36,000.
So 116.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I'm getting nervous.
It does have a good garlic flavor, so you can. This one's not horrible yet.
Not horrible yet.
Where would we be most surprised to see AirGas products at work?
Well, hang on a second. It's going to be a short answer. So I thought about this one, and for me, because I've been around the industry for 30 years, I wasn't surprised by many of these things. I've seen them a lot, but the one that I think most folks might be surprised by would be we use nitrogen for race cars to inflate the tires. So I didn't know we did that. That's probably something people hadn't thought a lot about. I think there are some people that do inflate their tires with nitrogen, but it's not a commonly known thing. It just maintains the pressure a little bit better for race cars. We actually travel around to some local racetracks and we set up shop during the weekend and we bring a lot of nitrogen and make sure all the race teams have their tires filled. And wow, that one is hot.
The two I guess that surprised me most was finding out I guess that there's nitrogen in a water bottle to make them so you can stack them and stand them. That's what actually helps the water bottles. And then in meat packaging, I guess to help keep the meat fresh, there's AirGas supplied gases that are inside that little cellophane thing when you pick up the meat.
Yep.
You know, I didn't realize that there were actual gases in there as well. So a lot of places you wouldn't expect to see them, we're finding out that it's industries that are being touched by it.
I do think what I said earlier about the industries that we touch, I think there's probably more that we touch than we don't, frankly. And one of my first jobs in the industry was actually with, it was a food application engineer, so I actually helped some customers use gases in packaging. So meats sometimes have oxygen in their package so that they stay red. That was a surprise to me in the beginning, yeah. You wouldn't put that together. Normally you wouldn't think that.
And that was surprised me, but as I looked at it, you imagine the chip bags and everything else that are kind of solid to keep them from smashing. You know, they're filled with gases, and you know, it's in use more places than I think I initially realized. So,
Yep.
All right, we have wing number 7 now, which is from the Spice and Food Company. It is the bomb beyond insanity. It is 135,600 Scovilles. And this one's bad.
This one's bad.
This one's bad.
So what should I do to prepare?
Might take a sip of the eggnog.
Okay.
I'm not sure. You've got some lifelines on the floor next to you if you want to grab them.
Grin and bear it.
You graduated from Grove City College in PA. So I'm going to have to take you back to the Rainbow Bridge at Wolf Creek and ask, you set the school record in 1988 with 1,375 passing yards, 2008 Hall of Fame inductee. You were quarterback and also punt returner. How is being quarterback similar to being the president of the company?
I'm glad I'm not the president of the country.
Yes, of the company.
Company, yes. Oof,
The hot sauce has its effects at times.
I'm with you. Yeah, that one was definitely hot. It's interesting you mentioned Wolf Creek. I mean, that's, you know, that does bring back a lot of memories. And I met my wife at Grove City College, so that brings back memories of meeting my wife. But we mentioned quarterback and punt returner. That doesn't usually happen
No,
in the same, yeah.
The two guys that most likely to get killed.
Yes. So I got to use one of my lifelines here. Wow. That was a good question for that wing. What do I connect with being a quarterback and being the president? So I would say this, they're both leadership positions. You definitely had to continue to perform. Wow. I think you had to be skilled, obviously, I think in both positions. You know, it doesn't end when you become, you know, the president of a region. You continue to have to get better. And that's probably the one thing for me that football taught me that I will apply for the rest of my life is, you know, they had this saying, bigger, stronger, faster, you know, from the time I started football until the time I got older. And that just means get better every day. So you went to practice every day. I stayed after practice every day to watch film or to, you know, do something to improve what I was doing. It's no different here. You know, it doesn't mean that we are perfect in our business. It means that we have to continue getting better. And I think that mentality has lived with me, and I've tried to instill that in our people. I think that has helped us because you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, if you're not perfect in business. But if you continue to have this get better every day mindset, I think it helps people deal with it. Are you struggling like me?
Yeah, they're just as hot for me.
Ooh.
Now, Guthrie Theater was recently sold. Any memories there?
Oh, yeah. So one of the first, I actually talked to my wife about this one because one of our first dates was at the Guthrie Theater. But what did I remember about the Guthrie Theater? So I was talking to her about this. It's an old school building, and it's first of all, it seems ancient even when I think back to it today, 30-some years ago, whatever it was. But they have a very big old school marquee, too. Hangs out over the sidewalk. You know, it's where they put the name of the whatever they were playing at the time. You know, cool lights. So I remember that. I remember seeing just visually what it was. But inside, I remember, you know, Grove City is a small town for anybody that knows it, and it wasn't, I would say, in the best repair all the time. So we remember that. And one of the things my wife said is she always remembered being very cold there. So when she would go down there with her friends, she'd always bring a blanket with her. And she even said she thought she saw bats flying around in the ceiling. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I remember about the Guthrie Theater.
All right, well, up next we've got Dingo Sauce Company Widowmaker Sauce. This one comes from Australia. It's 682,000 Scoville.
What was the last one?
135. We kind of ramp up here at the end.
I'll say.
All right, does the fact that you were a Wolverine at Grove City College have any bearing on your Ohio-Michigan rivalry? How do you balance having locations in both areas? And is there any friendly rivalry among the AVPs, the area vice presidents for those territories?
Yeah, so we were the Grove City College Wolverines. No relation, no connection at all. Never really made the connection, frankly, except that our helmets had the same pattern on them at one time. Not anymore, but that was about it. That's about the only connection, not the same colors or anything. So Ohio and Michigan are the two largest states for our region. Probably 80% of our locations are there, probably 80% of our people are there. It is a fun time at football, I would just say that. Basketball doesn't really enter in, even though a couple of our VPs like to bring that up, mostly when they're talking about Michigan, not Ohio State. But there is a lot of banter that goes on, I would say, maybe a little bit of betting as well. So it's a lot of fun. It's a friendly rivalry that we keep internal. It's more like a family rivalry, I would say. So yeah, we enjoyed a lot. Now we tend to have a lot of Big Ten people, so we now have some Michigan State folks. We even have some Penn State folks. So we let them into the betting as well a little bit.
All right, up next, the Ashley Food Company Mad Dog 357 sauce. It's the 25th anniversary. It's 1 million Scoville.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Oof.
All right, I have to ask you about career opportunities at AirGas. What level of education is needed, and what positions are available? And I got hot sauce in my eye, so.
Oh, no. I'm just trying not to lose my lips here. So I'll say this. First, immediately, we tend to always have about 50 openings in our region. So that, there are career opportunities all throughout the region. They tend to be, I would say, spread pretty evenly, especially now. We normally would have about 25, but these positions range from, they could start out as an hourly position in a store or in a plant. Drivers are about a quarter of our population, so a lot of what we do is distribution. So we need drivers. We need Class A and Class B drivers. Ooh, wow. This one just keeps coming too, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so we have positions that would start out as well. College graduates, we have quite a few trainees. We started to hire a lot more trainees. We're trying to hire more interns so we can bring people in and potentially be a sales intern or an intern in one of our branches or in one of our plants. So we're doing a lot more from that standpoint, but I would say we would hire people from the very beginning of their career to the very end. I've been in the industry for 30 years now, roughly. I would say this, because we cover so many different industries and so many different applications for our gases, to me, it always kept me interested. You can never stop learning. You can always keep learning about different products, different applications, different things that we could resell. So from that standpoint, that's always been interesting. And it's probably one of the draws for me as I talk to other people trying to get into the industry.
Wing number 10 is the First Sweet Feast Hot Ones Last Dab Reaper Edition. It's 2 million plus Scovilles, and it's kind of tradition to put a little bit extra on the last one. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm way over my skis on this one. I'm not going to do any more.
All right. Wing number 10.
Wing number 10. Thank you. Got to find the spot that's got the least amount of sauce on it.
All right, well, congratulations. 10 wings up, 10 wings down. You now have 2 minutes to say anything you want to your family or the AirGas associates watching.
Okay. Can I just take 1 second here?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually envision it being worse, believe it or not. It's just hard to talk. Okay, so first, thanks for having me. Very interesting. I'm not normally a hot sauce person, but I have enjoyed it. It's been good. So what can I say? To our AirGas folks, I would say this. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the last, or during the pandemic. You've been incredible, really. If I think about what you've done in the beginning of the pandemic, you continued taking care of our customers through all kinds of issues and continue to take care of each other. And even now, it's amazing to me as I look at where we're at, because the pandemic changed everything for us. As I said, we started out being down 40%. It was probably easier in some ways as I look back on it than it is even today, because today our customers are ramping up very quickly. So we are currently at about 100% of our pre-pandemic volume, but we haven't been able to rehire the number of people that we need. We're at about 90%. So they're taking care of 100% of the volume with 10% fewer people, and they've still continued to figure out how to get it done. So for that, I just want to say thank you to all of our employees at AirGas Great Lakes. They really have done a terrific job. And for those who haven't heard of AirGas, I would just say, for me, again, I want to reiterate, incredible industry. It's been fun for me for 30 years. I don't know how long it's been for you, Mick. How long has it been? 8, yep. But it really has been a learning experience as I've continued to experience different applications for us, continue to learn more and more. So that's the draw to me, and I think that's the draw for any inquisitive type person. I think you really enjoy that part of our industry. So that's what I had to say.
Well, thank you very much for being here. Great job. Give you a round of applause.
All right, thank you.